international weather, and at 50 after the storm update. Right now, your local forecast. This is WeatherScope.
Well, about 4 hours, a little less than 4 hours from right now, summer will officially come in, the old summer solstice. But you know what? In many areas of the country, I actually got a preview today of those summer-like temperatures. Good evening.
That's right.
I'm Jeff Morrow.
And I'm Dave Schwartz, sitting in for Kim Perez tonight. You know, that 4:21 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time for summer is actually just an astronomical kind of thing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I think most folks would say that, at least across the South, the summer's been here for a while. It's been a little bit late in the East, though.
It sure has. It's warmed up in the Midwest, that's for sure.
It sure
We've had thunder showers this morning, Minneapolis, St. Paul. We had a high temperature of 85 degrees, and look at this angry-looking cumulonimbus cloud. And the gusty winds that came down with it, and also some heavy rains. That made for travel a little difficult from time to time. There was a lot of water on the streets. But now it's kind of dried out. We have a north wind at 71 degrees after a high in the mid-80s today. But look what's happening to the south. Oh my gosh, this is bad. This is going to make the news tomorrow in Nebraska and Iowa, Michigan and Indiana, and parts of Ohio due to severe weather and flooding. Tornado watch remains in effect for the eastern half of Nebraska. Severe thunderstorm watch out here. And for now, virtually all of the state of Iowa. And if I lived in Iowa, that's what I'm talking about. These thunderstorms are headed your way. This one earlier produced a tornado. Now we've got a tornado warning north of Omaha, out here in the Platte River, east of Columbus. Doppler radar has picked up what appears to be rotation in a cloud. And this tornadic thunderstorm cell is moving toward North Bend, Nebraska. Tornado watch in effect for Dodge County, while here in Omaha, it's an unbelievable 86 degrees right now. Dew point temperature at 73, giving us a heat index of 93 degrees at 11:32 at night. And boy, oh boy, you don't want to hit I-80 tonight in Omaha headed west. And as I say, this is all headed east. Plenty of rain. Matter of fact, well, over 6 inches of rain locally. Further east, another batch of thunderstorms over Lake Michigan. This is what blew through Chicago earlier today with the golf ball-sized hail in Morton's Grove. Downer Grove had some hail. Chicago, right downtown, also had some hail, strong winds, and about a half an inch of rain, half to 3/4 of an inch of rain. These are now in Michigan. Look at this radar, huh? I'll tell you, Allegan and Ottawa counties here, right there. Doppler precipitation estimates up to 8.5 inches tonight. And there's more rain sitting out here over Lake Michigan. That will move in. At least we're rain cooled. So I would imagine some of this is going to be muted as it moves in, but still another inch or two of rain, not out of the realm of possibility. Here in Detroit, we have skated by just some light rain. All this heavy rain is headed toward the south, toward Fort Wayne. Boy, what a lightning show to the north. And Robin Weeks, one of our forecasters tonight, believes that some of this could propagate southward through Indianapolis, perhaps all the way to Cincinnati by morning. So watch it from the Front Range of the Rockies all the way to the Great Lakes states south of this frontal boundary, where it is moist. Dew point temperatures in the upper 70s. That's an indication of how much moisture there is in the atmosphere, and that heads all the way down to the deep south. Jeff?
Well, Dave, we definitely have some dying thunderstorms in the southeast, but rainfall totals that rival some of those that you were talking about on up into Michigan and out into Nebraska. Let's first of all go on down into Florida, shall we, and show you what we're talking about. Well, Alabama, Georgia, and northern Florida anyway. Indeed, let's go ahead and put this old radar. Is it going to go into motion? There it goes. But when it goes into motion, you don't see too much motion. This is kind of stuck in the mud here, folks. We actually have an upper level low spinning about in the atmosphere here. Very weak system, but it doesn't take much this time of the year. And you add a little bit of that strong June sunshine, and you can get big thunderstorms walloping up. A little bit of a convergence area here. There's something else going on too, rather than just that upper level low, because the actual low is right here. And all these thunderstorms are off to the west of it. So we've got some other activities going on in the atmosphere, but what it's doing is it's focusing these storms anywhere from Mississippi through southern Alabama and just about down into the panhandle of Florida. Pretty much ends up there. But we've had Doppler estimations of 6 inches of rain or even more in southwest Alabama along the Tombigbee Waterway and on up toward Meridian, Mississippi. Earlier, some big storms here in South Florida, but this is really all that's left. Line is propagated south. This is very similar to what we saw last night, only the storms moved down along the east coast through Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade County. Now western Broward, northwest Dade County, just south of the Alligator Alley and the Tamiami Trail, there are still some thunder and lightning producing storms, and also looks like some storms weakening as they head out into the Gulf off of Naples, Florida. There's the big picture. It'll warm up in the northeast tomorrow, even more than what you saw today as this front goes on by. We'll talk about that in the forecast. But let's head you to the Pacific Northwest, where we have a little bit of light rain falling from Olympia up through Seattle, up through Puget Sound, Port Angeles and Bellingham getting some light rain as well. Definitely on the cool side here in the last 24 hours. What we're talking about is 67 for a high and a current temperature reading of 58. 58 also at Spokane. That's definitely the coolest air in the country. 59 in Caribou, but it's going to be warming up there. Rest of the nation pretty much on the warm side. Dave?
Jeff, one person was killed and 4 injured today as Typhoon Opal lashed areas of eastern Japan. Opal hit the coast shortly before noon. In Tokyo, the wind gusted to 65 miles an hour. There was widespread flooding, and that closed Tokyo's main expressway. Opal is the season's 7th typhoon, but it's no longer a typhoon. It is out over the northern Pacific, way off the coast, just about out of this picture. It's way up there. 50-mile-an-hour maximum sustained winds as our friends in Japan get a chance to dry out. Meanwhile, back here in the lower 48, there's more wet before the dry out begins. Here's Jeff with that story.
All right, Dave, let's go ahead and put the old Weather Channel maps into motion. You know, we had some reports of up to 80-mile-an-hour winds, between 70 and 80-mile-an-hour winds here near Grand Island, Nebraska, and also into Iowa, toppling over some semi-tractor trailers along Interstate 35, I believe. We're going to have more big thunderstorms, remnants of tonight's storms, and then more refiring up again tomorrow in the heat and humidity, again along that same front, and it's going to be in many of the same areas. Maybe down into northern Kansas, on up into Iowa, maybe Chicago and Milwaukee, Detroit, Flint, Saginaw, South Bend, Indiana, just to name a few spots that might get hit again. Locally, 5 inches plus. We've added that to the Iowa precipitation.